Hey everyone, my name is Mike Vaughn. I'm a writer for Geek Vibes Nation, and I'm so excited because I am talking to Bill Oliver, the director and co-writer of Our Son. First of all, it's such an amazing film. It kind of gave me this Euro 70s vibe, sort of like a Fassbender meets like a Bergman, Scenes from a Marriage kind of comes to mind. Um,
Thank you for saying
yeah,
that. We keep getting the comparison to gay like Kramer versus Kramer, which I'd say Bergman's Scenes from a Marriage was he's my favorite filmmaker, so that's a huge compliment. And those are the kinds of movies that have influenced me. The American 70s, European. We looked at a lot of sort of Northern European, Joachim Trier and if our composer is Norwegian, so it definitely has a European influence. Our cinematographer is Italian, and also Japanese films were important to me for this tonally. Yeah.
nice, and I totally get that, and I can see like I like that you mentioned about the cinematography because it's so beautifully shot. There's these scenes that just sort of linger a little bit, or they it almost like you just capture this very private, intimate moment, and it kind of has almost a voyeuristic kind of flair that was intentional.
Yes, I mean the goal was to make it feel very real, very lived in, because I wanted the audience to really believe that this family, exists in the world, which they do. But a lot of people want to say they don't or shouldn't. So there was like definitely it was very important that it feel sort of very naturalistic, but also beautiful because I wanted also to say that they were beautiful and to elevate them through beauty. So we shot the film, with mostly available light. So that's partly what gives you a little bit of that painterly feel, but also maybe the voyeuristic because we were just using, you're seeing what it was.
Hmm,
It
nice.
was not a set that was created or lit in any way.
Nice. Now, you have an amazing cast, of course.
Yeah.
Luke Evans and Billy Porter, who are both openly gay. Now that leads my next question, which is how vital was it that, you know, as a queer person myself, I love seeing like us being able to tell our own stories. How vital was that in casting?
Yes, it was very important to me, particularly for this film, again, because I wanted it to feel very real, very, very lived in. So, part of that was in the script and how we shot it, but so much of it is also in just the actors bringing themselves to the roles. So even that, I wanted there just to be a very thin veil between, who the actors are and their characters. Um, I think it's extremely important to go that route or to at least make, an enormous effort in that direction. And we were very lucky, because it narrows the pool when you're trying to get big names attached to your movie, which is necessary in order to get your film financed, which a lot of people don't understand about the way the movie business works. So, but we were very fortunate that to get them, and it says something about the progress that's made on that front that you know they were able to they were available to us and were able to help get the movie made.
Nice. And while we're kind of on this subject, what's your opinion on straight people playing gay characters? Do you feel like that's something we should try to move away from?
Yeah, I mean, I I do think we should try to move away from that. The unfortunate problem right now is there's a disconnect between sort of content and cast. There's so many queer stories to tell, or stories about queer characters, Freddie Mercury, Leonard Bernstein, and unfortunately, the pool, like I said, is narrow. So there is you risk these stories not being told. So I am a little bit flexible at this moment because I want to see these stories told and to reach the screen. But yes, I also am frustrated and angry, for when straight actors get rewarded for playing, gay characters. That's so brave, and I think there's a lot of homophobia built into that, and into the film industry in general. It's just taking a while to make progress there.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's movies like this where I'm like, oh
yeah,
my gosh, it makes me so happy because I feel
yeah,
like we are finally getting these stories told, and
yeah.
that's such an interesting point, because as you said, the pool is kind of limited so far, and maybe we'll get more actors maybe coming out. Not that that's a personal choice, but like yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think I thank you for appreciating that, because I do feel like it's something when a film like ours does break new ground in some sense, there's a sense of like taking it for granted already.
mm,
Like, oh, well, it's a queer film and they're queer actors, and of course, but it's not of course. Like there was a huge effort that went into that, and it's not often seen. So
yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you. Yeah, yeah.
Now, the reviews are great for this. I know, I think I checked, it was like something at 96% freshness on Rotten Tomato. Um, and that's amazing. What's been the feedback from the queer community as far as how they liked it and the representation?
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate that I was able to travel the film festival circuit with it since its premiere in Tribeca. We for about 6 months it played in festivals, and most of them were queer festivals, both in this country and one in Florence, Italy, which was amazing. And because the film really resonated with queer audiences there, because their government is making it really difficult for gay couples to have children right now. So it was very topical for them. So to be able to just sort of be on the ground and hear from people directly after watching it was incredibly moving and special. And yeah, they are really loving it, and appreciate that which was our goal, that it's kind of a mature film about, it's not about coming out or first love or, some sort of tragic period thing, that it's just about real lives and middle-aged lives. And, the response has been really good.
Yeah, and something you said also really was another point that why I love this movie is um it does have a happy ending. We don't have to see ourselves living these sort of Dickensian miserable lives at the end. It's a really uplifting. Yes, there is a lot of heartbreak and turmoil, but in the end, there's something beautiful, and I don't know. It's just I'm sure you feel this way too, where it's like you want to see gay stories that that aren't tragic at the end.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, at this point in my life, being queer is an amazing thing. And it's just an incredible, like, thing but it takes a while to learn that and come to terms with that. Moving beyond acceptance, both self-acceptance and acceptance from the world, towards a celebration of it, which was part of the film. To me, it's a celebration of queer families, the queer community, of chosen family, friendships, connection, and how we all take care of each other, which I see in my personal life with my friends and my community. We really look after each other, especially when times are difficult. So that was just kind of baked into it's just how I see the world and myself and my community. And yeah, and stepping back, I knew that it was going to be a sort of a counterpoint to so many films that are queer films that are in tragically, or just have a kind of a bleakness, and the
Mhm.
and I knew it was a bit of a risk, because a lot of times films that are positive or are labeled earnest or something like that. And but we my writing partner and I knew it going in that we were going to put our emotions on our sleeves, and to hell with whatever people say about it.
Nice. That's awesome. Now would you ever consider doing like a gay Hallmark movie? Like if they came to you with,
Yeah. Sure. I mean, well, I don't know. Uh, I want to tell more stories like this, and these sort of like slice of life or everyday stories about queer people. It's not the kind of film that those are not the kinds of films that are easy to get made or financed
Yep.
in general, whether queer or not. Dramas, sort of comedic dramas, or whatever you want to call them. And you know, I would like to have the opportunity to make more queer stories. That I'm not sure about. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Depends on the script, as it always does.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, I was talking about cast earlier, and the young Christopher Woodley is very great in it. Was it challenging working with kids? Had you worked with kids prior to this?
Not very much, just in a short film and in a very small capacity. So, I was excited by it. Have I have been around a lot of kids. I have two sons that I helped raise with a lesbian couple. So it was, part of, what was exciting about the idea was that it gave me the opportunity to kind of explore my feelings about being a father as a gay man, and not ever expecting to have that in my life. So I went for it. And even though you're not supposed to, and especially on a film that's low budget and where schedule is tight, and kids can't work as long as adults. There's restrictions on the number of hours to the set. So, um, but he was great, and I did my research and talked to other directors who've worked with kids and got some pointers. And we were just really thorough in the casting process and found this great kid, and with a great caregiver, which is equally important. His mom has just been incredible, and it was with him every day. And he was just a kid, and he has some professional experience, but not too much, which I didn't want. I just wanted him to feel real and charming and sweet, and he was all of that. So I'm very happy
Yeah,
with it. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that translates absolutely. Like the chemistry between the three of them. I mean, that's what I think really. I mean, not the only reason why it has that emotional punch, but it's a big reason because it's like, oh, you don't want to see this family split up because I mean they do have such chemistry together. Um, did did the cast kind of hang out a little bit outside of filming to sort of
Yeah, so we, with my casting director, Scotty Anderson, we narrowed down the pool to a few kids, maybe two or three. And then, I had a couple of rounds, and then I brought in Luke and Billy into a Zoom with Christopher and a couple of other actors, and just the chemistry was immediately apparent on the screen. And it was, after we finished, it was just so obvious who the choice would be. Because not because of the way he delivered his lines, but I was looking for that chemistry, um, to see what was there immediately. And then I had Billy, took him to lunch. We did a photo shoot. You don't have a lot of time when actors are flying in. Luke was coming from Europe off of another project, and we were lucky enough to just get Billy and Luke together for a certain period of time. So, but I squeezed in as much time, like we had a photo shoot for props with the family to create some photos, and I used that as an opportunity for them to get to know each other. Um, so as a director, you just look for any little opportunity you can to sort of get the chemistry going, and because they had to feel like a real family and that they've been together for for 8 years, however old the kid is. But they're also professionals, so they can act their way into it too.
It's awesome. So wrapping up, what would you want the audience to take away from our side?
Well, like you said, it's a hopeful movie. There's so much suffering in the world. So the movie for me it was never intended to be bleak, or too sad. And Billy Porter wrote an original song for the movie that plays as the credits roll, called "Always Be My Man," which is a beautiful song that reflects that feeling of hope and optimism, and the feeling that the end of a relationship can be just as important and beautiful as the beginning of a relationship. So I hope if you're queer, I hope that you feel like you've felt that you're yourself represented in some capacity on screen, and if you're not, some greater empathy for queer people, that really the movie is about how we're all human and just trying to keep our heads above water like everyone else.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm choking up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, it's such a beautiful movie. I really appreciate your time, but also just making this movie. It's just again, it's I love seeing representation, but also really great representation.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Right. I mean, representation, the term is, it just feels like, oh, token, like, oh, we just want to be represented, something, but it needs to be good.
Yeah.
Complex. And so, I didn't take this opportunity for granted. It was just such an honor to be able to make it, that I just put everything into it. So thank you for appreciating it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the audience at home, you can check this out right now. You can rent it. I will put all that information in the description. Please, please, please check it out. And again, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Great questions. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you. All right, bye.
Bye.